records collecting, it's how I got into it. It was mainly because it was cool, it looked fun, and a lot of my friends were into it. And so they were like, "You should try it. It's fun, and it's a really neat hobby." My first record was Dire Straits' "Brothers in Arms," that album with "Money for Nothing" and "Walk of Life." It was funny because it was super. I was super excited to get it. I had this stupid little suitcase record player, but yeah, I just remember how excited I was, and so that started off on a whole train or whatever. And then I did research, and I found, oh, there's some stuff that I need to know. One thing that I didn't know whenever I first got into record collecting was the kind of stuff that I needed to buy, specifically to clean records. For context, records are extremely dirty. I don't know if you know, kind of are aware of the stereotypical sound that records have, but usually, whenever you think of a record, you think of kind of a poppy sound that like has a lot of crackles, and that's not the sound you want. Records, they're supposed to sound crystal clear and very smooth. That's a sign of a good record. If it pops and crackles, it means that there's dust in the grooves and you have to get it out. So what I have is I have a cleaning solution, which is usually rubbing alcohol that's been watered down a little bit. Brush. I'll put the record on the platter and have it spin for a little bit. And then I put the brush down. As it's going around and around and around, dust will build up on the brush. But usually after that, and then an anti-static brush after that to get all the static that builds up from the stylus being used. It usually sounds pretty spectacular after that. Another thing that I didn't know whenever I first got into record collecting was the kind of equipment to buy. Normally people, whenever they think of records, they think of, oh, I'll just get a record player and it'll be fine. And for the most part, that's not true. There are record players that you can buy that have speakers and everything that are involved, but they're not well built, and I don't recommend buying them. Specifically, the suitcase style record players, don't buy them. They are not worth the hassle that you'll get from it, especially if you're going to get serious in the hobby. A typical record setup has four main components. There is the record player, the preamp, the amp or receiver, and speaker. Some products you can mix and match with. So, for example, the record player that I have comes with a preamp installed. However, you still need the amp and you still need the speakers. Some speakers do come with the amp installed, so you can literally just rock with the speakers and the record player. Such as the Audio-Technica LP60 Bluetooth model. If you have the Bluetooth speaker, it works just fine. You don't only need the speaker and the record player. You can rock and roll just that. A common fear that people have with record collecting is that it's an expensive hobby, and for the most part, it's not. It is expensive if you want all the bells and whistles, but if you just want to listen to good records, you really can find some really good stuff. And a good $120 record player, that sounds like a lot, but for the record playing community, that is a steal, especially if you take care of your stuff. I think that everyone should get into record collecting. It is, for me, it's a gratifying hobby because it's something easy and it's something that everyone can appreciate because it encompasses the entirety of music. So everyone has an entry point that they can get into. For me, it was classic rock, and then I eventually branched off into finding other things that I liked.